Have you ever felt like you're changing, but you can't fully explain what's happening? Maybe you start questioning things you never questioned before. Maybe old habits doesn't interest you anymore. Maybe certain people seem to be drifting out of your life while new perspectives are showing up unexpectedly. Or maybe you simply feel different. Not better, not worse, just different. If you've been experiencing something like this, you might just be wondering whether you've been going through what's often called a spiritual awakening. Welcome back to the Mystic Messenger 369. Today we're going to talk about some of the most common signs people report when they begin waking up to a deeper understanding of themselves, their lives, and the world around them. Now, before we begin, let's clear something up. A spiritual awakening doesn't automatically mean you're figuring everything out. In fact, for many people, it just starts with confusion rather than clarity. It often begins with questions about purpose, questions about identity, questions about whether it truly matters or not. And while everyone's experience is different, there are certain patterns that shows up again and again and again. The first sign is this: you begin questioning things you once accepted without thinking. Your beliefs, your habits, social experiences, the way you always done things. It's not that you're becoming rebellious, you're becoming more curious. You stop accepting ideas simply because everyone else believed them. You start wanting to understand things for yourself. The second sign is you may feel disconnected from things that once excite you. This can be confusing. Activities that used to bring excitement may suddenly feel empty. Conversations that used to interest you no longer hold your attention. Sometimes people worry something is wrong when this happens, but often it's simply a sign that you're growing beyond old versions of yourself. The third sign is increasing self-awareness. You start noticing your thoughts more. You become more aware of your patterns. You begin observing yourself reacting instead of automatically acting on them, okay? You start asking questions like, why did that bother me? Why did I repeat this habit? Why do I react that way? And those questions can lead to powerful personal growth. The fourth sign is heightened sensitivity. Many people report being more sensitive to their environment. Certain place feels different. Certain people affect their energy differently. Loud environment may become more draining. Time and nature may become more valuable. And again, everyone's experience is unique. But many people notice a strong desire for peace, balance, and authenticity. The fifth sign is that your priorities begin to change. Success may start looking different. You become more or less focused on impressing people and more focused on finding meaning. You may begin to value health, relationship, purpose, and personal growth more than status or eternal validation. And honestly, this can feel strange at first because the goal that once motivated you may no longer have that same pull. The sixth sign is that you become more comfortable with being alone. Now, this doesn't mean isolate yourself. It means learn how to be present with yourself. Many people spend years avoiding silence, avoiding reflection, avoiding stillness. Spiritual awakening often encourage you to spend more time with understanding who you are beneath all of those distractions. The seventh sign is that synchronicities seem to appear often more than others. Maybe you keep hearing the same messages from different places. Maybe certain ideas keep showing up repeatedly. Maybe you think about someone and suddenly hear from them all of a sudden they get a phone call. You're thinking about that person and you get that phone call. Some people view these experiences as spirituality. Others view them as psychologically. Either way, they often encourage deep reflection. The eighth sign is emotional healing. And honestly, this one is one of the most overlooked parts of the process. A spiritual awakening isn't always peaceful. Sometimes the old wounds rise to the surface. Like the old wounds as in fear, old memories, your old insecurities. It's not because you're moving backwards, but because you're finally ready to face them, okay? Healing often requires awareness, and awareness sometimes brings uncomfortable truth into the light. The ninth sign is a stronger desire to live authentically. You begin to care less about fitting in and more about being genuine. You stop trying to be that old version of yourself that everyone expected and start becoming that version that feels true to you, okay? That doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with honesty. And finally, one of the biggest signs of them all, you realize that growth never truly ends. A spiritual awakening isn't a final line. It's not a special title. It's not a destination. It's an ongoing process of learning, growing, questioning, and becoming more aware. The truth is, everyone has a own journey. Some people call it a spiritual awakening, others call it personal development, others call it self-discovery. The label isn't what matters, okay? What matters is becoming more consciousness of how you live, how you think, and who you becoming. Because at the end of the day, awakening isn't about escaping reality. It's about becoming more present within. So what do you think? Have you experienced any sign? Which one resonated with you the most? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this discussion, subscribe to Mystic Messenger 369 for more conversations about spirituality, consciousness, and personal development and personal growth. Until next time, stay curious, stay aware, and keep growing.